Tune those fiddles, floss that tooth, and uncork that moonshine. The Lovecraft Country Time Jamboree is back. Every week I'll be taking a look at each episode from the biggest horror series of 2020 as it drops. There'll be spoilers from here on out, but I'll try to keep them on the minimal. So there you go. You've been warned. Let's get to it.
Young Sagat.
Welcome back to MLMiller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm MLMiller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my MLMiller Frights page and give it a like, share with your buddies across the electronic superhighway, click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Please get the word out to new folks so we can make the Kings of Horror Network and MLMiller Frights bigger and better. If you're in the Chicago area and love horror, you have no excuse not to head over to the Chi-Town Movies Drive-In for the Music Box of Horrors at the Drive-In. Every day in October for 31 nights, there will be late shows Sunday through Thursday and double features every Friday and Saturday night. Every weekend is themed: Grindhouse Fridays, Rip-Off Saturdays, and Sequel Sundays. Tonight they're playing The Host from Parasite director Bong Joon-ho. If you haven't seen this little creature feature, you're missing out. Look below for a link to the schedule, where to get tickets, and directions to this awesome horror event. Lovecraft Country Season 1, Episode 8 is entitled Jig-a-Bobo. It's streaming on HBO and HBO MAX, and this episode was directed by the series creator Misha. The first two episodes of Lovecraft Country felt truncated, rushed, and packed with discourse because it seemed those behind the series wanted to get to a specific point in the story in order to tell their version of the story. Instead of giving us dramatic scenes, the narrative seemed to skip along in order to communicate a message rather than let the story fold out with scenes full of dramatic tension and character interactions. This seems to be the case with Episode 8, a socially relevant but dramatically deficient installment. The bulk of the episode is dedicated to Diana D. Freeman, played by Jada Harris. Diana is overwhelmed with confusion because her mother, Hippolyta, has gone missing and she doesn't know why. Tick, Letty, and Montrose are keeping the info that went down last episode from Diana to protect her, a typical bad mood made in almost every serialized drama. This is so Dee doesn't know that her mother is off dancing in the future with an alien with a big-ass afro. On top of that, a local boy and friend to Dee named Bobo was found horribly beaten and killed, and as the episode opens, we see the cops and crowd coming into conflict, a scene we're all too familiar with these days. Running away from the group, Dee finds herself accosted by the police who found her comic book at the observatory last week, where we last saw Hippolyta. When the cops place a curse on her, Dee is tormented by a pair of little girls dressed as minstrels and is forced to face them down and confront the cops who very well might have been behind the killings of the young boy. Now, there are other things that go on in this episode. Tick, Jonathan Majors, and Montrose, Michael K. Williams, have a heart-to-heart on the curb about how much Tick's mom knew about Montrose's homosexuality. Tick and Letty, Journey Smollett, have a big fight after Ji-Ah, Jamie Chung, shows up at the halfway house. And Ruby, Wonmi Mosaku, tries to make sense of her jumbled up feelings about her relationship with Christina, Abby Lee, her power to turn into a white woman, and her urges to do something after the death of Bobo. But instead of giving each of these scenes the time they deserve, everything is truncated to the point of ineffectiveness. I was especially disappointed with the big Tick, Letty, Ji-Ah meet. If you're going to dedicate an entire episode, the best episode of this series so far in my opinion, on the relationship between Ji-Ah and Tick, wrapping it up in 2 minutes is not near enough resolution. The way Tick races after Letty may show where his love lies, and it might show what side this series is on, but it still doesn't work given the convincing and resonant story between Tick and Ji-Ah from Episode 5. The same can be said for Ruby's erratic behavior. You're forced to read between the lines and put two and two together yourself to understand the conflict Ruby is feeling. And while there is a strong story being told about her relationship with Christina, it isn't being given the amount of attention it deserves. This is because, as a whole, Lovecraft Country is more interested in conveying a message than telling a story. It's horrible what happened to the young boy Bobo, and apparently this is a real thing that happened. But heavy-handed lines comparing the event with the recent racial tragedies involving the police and the black community feel really forced. Yes, it does show that some things never change, sadly, but these scenes take away from the drama the series is trying to sell. I appreciate the Nightmare on Elm Street-esque Dreamstalker horror that we got with Dee's adventure this episode. The twitching and dancing girls were in fact quite creepy, as evidenced by a few well-done sequences. One on an L train station where the little girls are bobbing and dancing around the unsuspecting patrons only to be noticed by Dee, and another one in an alley where they're creeping up behind Dee. Still, whereas these character-specific episodes have developed character in Hippolyta, Letty, and Ruby's episodes, the main horror story only distracted from the more interesting developments with the rest of the cast. Add that to the over-the-top acting we got during the Tick and Letty fight, which was just screaming every line back and forth to each other very screamily, and you've got another episode that ends with a big action sequence, but feels like it misses every dramatic beat it attempts. Only 2 more episodes of Lovecraft Country. If you're enjoying it, I'm glad for you, but reviewing this series has proven to be an arduous task for me. That'll be it for today. Please check back to MLMiller Frights to check out my countdown for the best of the best in horror. It's running every day this month. If you like this video, please pound that thumbs up button. Share this video with your social media addicted pals. If you're looking for written reviews and countdowns, you can find them on MLMillerWrites.com. Don't forget I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look for. GRAVETRANCERS is out now, and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, will be out in late November, early December. Diamond order code APR 201712. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell for alerts to be the first to see my future videos. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be. Stuck inside your